Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of On Location with Zara, produced with the support of TELUS STORYHIVE. Joining me is someone who is truly inspiring. You may have seen her over the news with her team in Paris, making Canadians proud, making Canada proud, and I just happened to run into her with some of her teammates in Paris at the Olympic Village. I'm talking about none other than Asia Hogan-Rochester. I got that right. So welcome back to Vancouver. I'm so glad we've connected after running into each other in Paris, and thanks for taking a moment to do some selfies and videos with me, which everyone on social media was loving.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for showing so much love to me and my teammates. You actually caught us like the day after we won our medal. For those of you who might not know, we just ran into each other randomly on the street. It was the day after winning our silver medal, and we were like, oh man, like, what do we want? What would be so great? Like, let's just get some slushies. So like, randomly, we just went to a convenience store, and then you were there sitting outside and just wanted to say hello. So yeah, you were so sweet, and I'm happy we got to meet again as well.
Completely. We were on a lunch break, and my camera operator, Alric, he knew that I just wanted so badly to speak to Team Canada. We'd gotten into the Olympic Village that day, and seeing you guys with the medals, with Team Canada jerseys, like I was so proud, you know, of all the hard work that goes into being there in Paris, but like years before. So we're gonna sit here and share with the audience your journey, Asia, of becoming this world-class athlete that you are. And you started at 17 playing rugby.
Yes.
So correct me if I'm wrong, 17 is the normal starting age, or people normally start a bit earlier, right?
It depends on where you live. So in Canada, like, rugby is definitely a growing sport. So there's so many people that transition into rugby at a later age, like myself, but might have been involved with sports, basketball, track and field, ice hockey, beforehand. But because it's not as big as say like in somewhere in like New Zealand or in England or Australia, these rugby predominant countries, a lot of the times you get people starting a little bit later, like for myself.
And rugby is a very physically demanding sport. You know, it's like I would watch before men's rugby and like how they're just body like slamming into each other. Like I'm just so curious, what inspired you to wake up one day and be like, okay, this is the sport I'm going to dedicate my life to. This is what I'm going to train in and aim to play to represent Canada. Mm-hmm. Like how did that come about that I'm going to focus on rugby?
Yeah, I think rugby is definitely such a powerful sport in men and women. It brings out so many positive aspects of I feel like who you are, and that was something that kept me playing rugby. It's just the community that was there, and although it is a very aggressive sport, there's double as much camaraderie in it. So that's something that kept me in the sport. But what got me into playing, I was quite an aggressive kid, and I wasn't always an athlete, so I kind of had a lot of pent-up energy that I didn't always spend that energy in the right places. So I kind of got into some trouble in school and just like wasn't doing the best in my classes, always chatting in class, and had the best intentions as a kid, but like just had a lot of energy that wasn't being put anywhere. And rugby was something that was like always suggested to me because my school was like a rugby school. And then in 2017, when I was 17 years old, Charity Williams, who's now my teammate and also has won a silver medal in Paris, she came to my school in 2017 with her first medal from Rio in rugby. And she was like, I went to this school too, like I've been in your shoes, and if you want to be a part of something incredible, like join the rugby team. So I was like, okay, like I could do that. Like, okay, like I kind of heard about rugby here and there. So anyways, that's a really long story, but what got me into it was kind of just wanting a place to put all of that energy I had, and seeing Charity also be successful in that, and then what kept me in it was just the great culture that's in the sport, along with the aggressiveness, I'd say.
And thank you so much for sharing that, because I'm sure there could be parents out there or kids who are watching, whether they just want to do it for fun or to channel their energy into something. So let's talk a little bit more about your journey. How would you say your time with the Toronto Nomads shaped your development as a player?
Yeah, I'd say that was huge. That was the first rugby club that I played for. I started playing rugby in high school, so like grade 12-ish. And then, like I said, it's a growing sport, so you need 15 people on the field. We might have had like 16 people or 14 people or 15. We were kind of just enough to play a game, each game. And eventually, I wanted to be able to learn more about the sport. So my high school coach suggested that I join this club outside of school, and that was the first time I had ever like really played on like a sports team outside of school. And they were just so welcoming to me. I didn't know much about the sport, but they just, same thing, appreciated the dedication and genuine care I had for playing, and they wanted to nurture that. And yeah, I have some best friends that I've made there to this day, and that was all the way back in grade 12, and they're still so supportive. And each opportunity I get, I'll try to, if I'm in Toronto, I'll try to put on the jersey and go on the field, but the Team Canada doesn't always let me do that. But so sometimes I'll just go and watch games and whatnot. But yeah, rugby is just such an inclusive sport, and playing there really taught me that.
Are your parents athletes?
Yeah, my dad is a Muay Thai, or was a Muay Thai fighter, and my mom is just like quite active. She's got the Peloton going, and then my sister is a personal trainer.
Okay, athletic family.
Yeah.
It runs in the
yeah,
genes.
we like to move around.
They must have been so proud of you. Did anyone come with you to Paris?
Yeah, my dad came out, and yeah, he was quite proud of me, and same with my mom and my sister, my whole family, my aunties, and then I have like my younger cousins, and it was really nice to see. I think like going to the Olympics really showed me how unified it can make everybody. It can bring the world together, countries together, and then on a smaller scale, like families together. And yeah.
So you've played both wing and fullback. Can you share the differences between those positions, and which one would you say you enjoy the most?
Yeah. Well, in sevens, there's like so many different kinds of positions. So there's like, in sevens, I play wing and center, and I'd say in both. So there's like sevens and there's 15s. Right now is what I'm doing. I'm doing 15s. And in 15s, I play wing and fullback. Sevens, I do wing and center. I'd say the both common ground between the positions are obviously the wing. And that's kind of just like your time to shine. Everybody kind of does like the brunt work on the inside of the field. And then on the wing, you're out there and you're just waiting to be released to sort of like win a 1v1 and go up the field and hopefully score. Or on the reverse end, if you're on defense, you're trying to stop the other winger from having their moment, kind of thing. And I love that. I really love that. Some people say it's like an easier position because you're not doing all the hard work on the inside, but the way that I see it is like, I've got to show up for my teammates because they've just put everything in.
And the pressure is on.
And the pressure is on because you only have a couple of moments. Don't mess it up, right? Exactly. Yes. So it's almost like whenever I see wingers, like usually those are kind of like the showboaty kind of, they always get the glory, but like I hope that like when I'm doing those things, scoring tries, whatever, like when people see me, they see my teammates as well, because that's really where it comes from at the end of the day. But yeah, I'd say I like the wing. Out of all the positions, I love the wing. I love it. That's my favorite.
You were a track and field athlete at York University. How would you say competing in track helped you with your rugby career?
Yeah, the speed, I'd say. Speed kills. And also, rugby is like, there's a sport where there's so much dedication to it, but track and field is like, I think, so many sports can collectively agree this, like it's another level because it's you're talking like milliseconds of comparison, and you're really just racing against yourself. And so I think that track and field has also taught me like kind of like the good habits that an athlete might possess, and that's like also fueled my work ethic in rugby, I'd say.
Let's talk a little bit about the self-talk and the self-care, because so much of being an athlete is yes, you're doing your physical practice, you're training, you're pushing your body beyond its limits, you're becoming coachable, teachable, and having that growth mindset. But also the other, because I've interviewed a few athletes, you know, from Tommy Europe to Jay Demerit, who was the former captain of Whitecaps, and they really talk about the importance of training their mind, whether it's through meditation or journaling or visualization. So is there something like that you can share with us, or something
definitely.
that you think that has really helped you in your life?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely a player that I get quite nervous before games, and my journey with self-talk and like self-care within like a high performance realm has started because of how nervous I would get before games. And at first it was like I would get so nervous to the point where like the ref has blown the whistle and we're now playing rugby, one of the most intense sports, and you've got to be like logged into that, and I'm just like still thinking about, well, what if this happens, what if that happens? I'm like living in the past and in the future and like not being in the moment. So I've definitely had to figure out strategies for myself, and now I'm in like a much better headspace because of these strategies. So one of them being visualization. Generally speaking, I have the same like pre-game routine. So I'll shower, makes me feel good to be clean. So why wouldn't I do that on game day? Right. So I'm gonna shower like right before we leave for the hotel. I'm gonna do my hair in a way where I feel confident. And they're little things, but it just makes me hold my chin a little bit higher, right? So I'll just do little things like that make me feel good. I'll wear my favorite perfume, even though I'm gonna go play rugby. Like I want to smell like I'm going out. You know what I mean? Like I'm going out to do something important, right? So I'll do that. I wear glitter, sparkles when I play.
I
don't know if you know that.
Yes, I love that.
So I'll put on some glitter because why not? I just like it. It's cool. And so already that kind of makes me feel like I'm me and I'm in my purpose. And then so kind of same pre-game routine. We might go to the venue. Okay, I'm like listening to my music now and I have a playlist.
Because I guess you need to have this single-mindedness, yet at the same time you guys are together. Like, to be honest, your guys' pictures from all of you jumping together and crying and emotions, and I don't play rugby, I've never played rugby, but just seeing your Instagram posts and stories, like my heart was like, I felt like I feel you, the emotion. And I think that's why sports have such a way of bringing people together. Like, why are we paying to go watch you? Because you guys are giving it your 100%. You're inspiring us that we can do difficult things.
Yeah.
And then when you do it at that global level of like, whether it's the Pan Am Games or the Olympics, and you have the country behind you, and those moments of you guys, I think there's like one in particular, I'm not sure if it's your fancy, where you guys are like hugging and you're just like crying and emotional and it's like intense. And it's just like,
it's because it's real. Like that team that went to compete at the Olympics, but also the team that was behind that team, like the team that our whole roster is around like 23 to 25 athletes, and then 14 players are selected to go to the Olympics. So anytime I speak about the team, I'm speaking about all of us. But so that whole team, like, I've just never felt as close to a team throughout like everything that we've gone through together. There's just so much like humility and respect, even though we're competing against each other ultimately for these positions. And like, oh, we're playing rugby, like we're hitting each other hard, but again, it goes back to the camaraderie, like and just like genuine friendship in that team. And I just happened to go to the Olympics with them. Like, so when you see those pictures, like, and watch our games, like, that's genuinely what it was. Like, those are my best friends I got to go to the Olympics with. It's so insane.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, so we're back on the good habits, that are helping inspire us, keep us on track, and especially we were mentioning earlier your injury, your ACL injury. If you feel comfortable like sharing like what you did other than rehab, that how you were taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's like that. I feel like with any injury, you kind of think, especially in ACL injury, like one of the worst things that you could do to your knee, honestly, or as an athlete. I think a lot of the times we think like it can never be me. It won't ever be me though. And because naturally, we just, if it hasn't happened to you and it's something devastating, sometimes we just think, oh, it's not going to happen to me. And that's what I thought. I thought it wouldn't happen to me, and it did. And nobody really preps you on how to deal with that. You just learn by going through it. Something I tell a lot of my friends or teammates or anybody who tells me that they've gotten an ACL injury, I tell them to, before they get their surgery, to reach out to kind of like try to have like a mental health plan. So if that is getting a therapist, do it before you get your surgery, because once you get your surgery, everything just goes into, all your eggs go into that basket of like physically getting better, and it's really hard to prioritize the mental aspect in the first like month to 3 months post surgery. So I say beforehand, like, do things to prioritize your mental health that will still be there in those like 1 to 3 months.
How would you say, like, what was your like self-talk like? Obviously you have the support around you, your teammates, all the friends that you know. How would you say if someone's out there who's watching, who's going through this or something else, something that helped you in those moments to overcome these inner voices?
Yeah, honestly, to be honest, like, I didn't overcome them in the moment. And just because like it was just a devastating part of my like athletic career, but also just like from like a human standpoint, I was not able to participate in something that I loved anymore, and also something that like all of my friends that I also love are doing,
and that's your entire world. That's your entire world.
So I would say that like there were times where I wasn't able to combat that, but in hindsight, I know that like everything turned out okay. And so in the moment, like that's what I would really rely on. It's just that like things are not okay right now. I don't feel okay, but I know eventually I will be. People who have never been through it, it's tough to help them through. And people who have been through it, it's still tough to even like connect in that moment. But it's just a matter of like knowing that you're gonna be okay in the end. And you don't know that, like, you haven't experienced it in the moment, but just like reminding yourself, even if you feel like there's no foundation to stand on, like it's gonna be okay in the end.
And I'm sure going through something like that, it creates, a depth inside. It creates a sensitivity, compassion inside, because I'm sure perhaps a teammate or someone else you may know in your life who's going through that, or even someone following you on your social media, they could be like, okay, you went through this, like how did you get through? Because there's the physical part and there's the mental part.
Yeah, I think like after I was able to get back into playing again, I never viewed the little things the same again. Like I don't take any time I'm able to wear a pair of cleats and get on the field and practice. Like there's times where I don't want to, I'm tired genuinely, and that's okay. But at the same time, like there's still a gratitude there. And like anytime I score a try now, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy because I watched for so long, like so many people do that, and I wanted to do that and I couldn't. So I think it creates definitely like a depth of just like, there's like you said, like a sensitivity, but like I think for me it's like a sense of gratitude and like a sense of like resilience. And it's like, okay, if I did that, I can do another hard thing as well. If like whatever comes my way, like I know, and I've seen the other side of it, like I know I'll be okay in the end now.
And there's an inner grit because you know you're strong. You've had to get through those tougher times. You just pick up and you keep going. Tell me, before heading to Paris, when you were selected, because like you mentioned, there's like many of you guys and then only certain individuals get to go. When you found out, obviously everyone was hoping that they get to represent Canada, to be part of women's Canadian rugby team representing Canada in Paris. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely huge. It's something that I've like hoped to be a part of ever since I basically started playing rugby, because Charity was somebody who had come to my school, and like that was one of my first experiences with rugby. It was like seeing an Olympian with a medal from Canada, right? So it's always been a part of my dreams, and it's so many things. Like I'm not even sure if I'll be able to fully fathom it. And like in the moment, even like I knew like the moment was, this incredible moment is not going to last forever. And so I just want to like be so present and like fully embrace it.
To anyone out there who's watching, or any of your fans, or anyone who's possibly interested in getting into rugby, what advice would you give to them?
I would say just like look up like rugby clubs near me, rugby clubs in Toronto, rugby clubs in Vancouver, rugby clubs in Barrie, Ontario. Like, I don't know, wherever you are, look up your closest rugby club. And the worst thing you can do is you go and you don't like it, and then you don't go anymore. But the odds are that, like, I haven't come across anyone who's been like, yeah, you know what, I really respect what you do. I've tried rugby and I just didn't like it. I've never met anyone who said that. Everyone said, yeah, I respect what you do. I tried rugby and I loved it. I used to play rugby back in the day. Or like, I haven't met anyone really who hasn't liked rugby. And there's also so many different variations. There's touch rugby, there's tackle rugby, there's sevens, there's 15s. There's just so many different variations of it, which is, I think, is also really cool. And there's a place for everybody. There's so many different positions that do all, like, we all collectively work together. There's people like me that are kind of like strike weapons, and then there's people in the middle of the field who are kind of, you know, playmaking and like looking at the picture in front of them and decision making. There's people on the field that they just want to run through people and they get their way to the try line that way. But there's genuinely a place for everybody.
Before we let you go, is there something that you would like to share with us or with our audience that we haven't touched on? Something perhaps that you would like to say, that, you know, something that you live by, something that inspires you?
Yeah, for sure. I'll just keep it simple. I just say, like, don't underestimate the power of being a good teammate. So that could be in sports, but that could also just be in day-to-day life, in the workplace, like the team that you're working with at work. That could be the people on the street that you pass by. Like, what does it mean to be a good teammate to you, and how can you live that in what you do?
I love that. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll share Asia's information so you can follow her. And thank you so much again, Asia, for sitting down with us, and hope to share more inspiring stories with you guys. Until next time, I'm Zara Durrani, and you're watching On Location with Zara, brought to you with the support of TELUS STORYHIVE.